What they say? Find somebody who gon' ride for you, ride for you. Yeah.
So, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to all everywhere. I'm Tanetta, and I am definitely having a good morning. And because we just went over the domestic violence and touched on the narcissist, and that seems to be a reoccurring theme with some of the people who've gone through domestic violence, I wanted to tap on it. Definitely had an opportunity to talk to a lot of individuals who've been dealing with this situation. I know that I personally have two individuals that I'm working with right now, trying to get them out of the situation. And I know others that have gotten out of the situation. I've gotten out of the situation. And you've seen Kelly Conley come on and talk about how she wrote a book because of her situation and getting out and the steps that she needed to get out. And as she expressed some of her story, you got to hear her feedback about how he just didn't care, had no emotions for her whatsoever, no remorse. And those are definitely narcissistic traits. And so I have lots of notes, and I really want to make sure that you understand that I have been in a narcissist relationship. I've been in a few narcissist relationships, and usually people who are helpers, people who want to who didn't get heard as a child or didn't get their needs met, usually are the people who narcissists are drawn to. They're drawn to the people who will give their all to kind of help out, that will that love hard, that want to be heard, that want to be seen, because they haven't been. And so the irony of that is that they too have lived in childhoods where they want to be heard and they want to be seen. And so I'm going to get into a little bit more of the different traits and what a narcissist really is, because it's really important. And if you are I definitely believe in soulmates. So let me finish that sentence. I definitely believe in soulmates, and I sort of kind of believe in this twin flame kind of thing, but I don't believe it to the extent of how some of the awakening spiritualisms have justified it. But I definitely think that there are two people made for each other. And I've learned so much about what a karmic is, and understanding what this dark night of the soul really is, and how you go through it with relationships, and how you just go through it in life. And so it's bigger and more than what the twin flame community says. But I just wanted to put that out there because I do have a video on the dark night of the soul and really understanding what that really is. And then I do have the video with me and the author Kelly Connolly going over domestic violence and really we really want to be there to support individuals that are going through domestic violence, and really want to support those that are going through a narcissist relationship. I've lived it firsthand, like I said, multiple times. My father was an undiagnosed narcissist. So I really wanted to explain this because narcissist is thrown around so freely in our society. It's like when people learn what bipolar were, they were like, oh, you're bipolar. They've got split personality. They're bipolar. It was just out of context. And so, narcissists like a lot of they do like a lot of attention, and they do like the likes on social media, etc. But there are some narcissists that don't. And so, the arrogant, the conceitedness, and, having to stop in a mirror and look at themselves is what we consider in today's society, like the narcissist. No, maybe arrogant, conceited, and overly confident in such ways that it's probably unhealthy. And narcissists have some of those traits. Trust me on that. The narcissist traits are so many. But just saying that they're a little conceited about themselves or desire the likes, may not necessarily make them narcissists. So I definitely want to say that. Or if you want to have steak and they want lobster for dinner and they end up getting their way, or they always get their way, and they might just have a way of manipulating you or pulling on your heartstrings in such ways that they're brats and they get their way. But it doesn't mean that your significant other, family member, whatever, is a narcissist. It just means you probably need some better boundaries if you're always not getting your way. Or maybe they're just not the person, or they could definitely be toxic. So, and when you talk about a toxic relationship, there are multitudes of toxic relationships, and narcissist is not the only toxic relationship. So let me get into it. I have lots of notes. I'm going to be looking down, reading my notes, because I want to make sure I don't miss anything, because when I don't, I always miss something and go, dang, I forgot to tell them. A lot of my information came from the book Should I Stay, Should I Go? It's by Dr. Romano Durvasula. I'm so sorry if I messed that up. Durvasula. I think it's Romani, actually, Dr. Romani, and she has a great book, Should I Stay or Should I Go? And it's really just talking about narcissist relationship, understanding it, like the definition. She is a therapist, and she's a psychologist, and this is her specialty. It's one of the things that she really adores, really digging into, really trying to understand the mind of a narcissist. So check that book out. If you're really trying to understand them more than just a video that might go 20 minutes. I'm not sure how long this is going to be, but nevertheless, so what is a narcissist? And a narcissist is a person who can't regulate their self-esteem. They can't secure their own self, so they're very insecure. So they rely on other people to kind of validate them, to kind of co-sign things that they're doing, because they don't know how to regulate that emotion of self-worth, of self-esteem. They don't really know how to acquire that in such a healthy way. And so it is a DSM diagnosed, but it's not a disorder. It's not like a disease. It's not like I can't say it's not really there is a disorder with narcissism, as Dr. Romani explains, and she does say there is a narcissist trait disorder, but I really like how she embraced, like, they're just mean people. And so but usually when we're just talking about a narcissist, it's not the disorder, it's the trait of narcissism. It's a trait. And so there are people that have narcissist trait. You probably have it. I have some narcissist traits. Most people do, and a lot of us pick up narcissist trait when we're young too, when we're trying to accomplish things. But what makes a person a true narcissist is that they have to have so many, according to our GSM, our diagnosis manual, just to make it easy. And so I believe it has to be 6 things that are in there, and it's a lot of things, but it has to be 6. But I'm going to go over the foundation of what most narcissists have regardless. So even if they have 27 traits, and yes, they can have 27 traits, these that I'm going to talk about are usually dominant, and you'll usually see them. And when I say dominant, means they have these things, doesn't mean that they're so loud. It just means that you definitely will see these traits, whether Tom has most of them in a lack of empathy and just really shows it loudly, or Dick has it in taking pleasure in the pain of others, or Susie has it being entitlement is her priority. But they all have the core of all of these, if that makes sense. All right, so how that's gonna go is right, I've got a multitude of things going on, and don't want to miss a beat, but okay, this is my accountant. Okay, so narcissists, their traits, they're okay, so I said 6 or more. Okay, then a narcissist, what it really is that they lack the empathy. They have a grandiosis, like they think that they're better than everybody. They think that they will accomplish more than everybody. They think that nobody's better than them, or they want to hang around people who are. If they think this person is, they want to hang around them so that they can get what they have. So I like to call them energy vampires, because they drain people. They don't have a lot to offer, but they have a lot to suck in, and they will claim it as theirs. So they will own it. It is theirs. And so once they drain you, whether it's friends, family, lovers, children, they will, co-workers, once they get all they need from you, they pretty much will toss you and leave you to the side. So they're superficial. They have this sense of entitlement, like I said, to their self and nobody else. They believe that they're entitled to the best, but not you. They'll share things with you because it's a must, not because they really want to. They'll put you on a pedestal because they're trying to gain something, but actually they're wanting to be there, or they're lying just to get what they want. They throw tantrums, and tantrums could look like little kids, from balling up like a little kid in a ball, to beating on the wall, throwing things around the house, cussing you out, throwing your things outside because, oh, you need to go. They will throw all kind of tantrums. Grown people will act like 3-year-olds. They will get drunk in order to not really soothe the pain that they're going through, but really for you to feel bad, to kind of console them. They'll tell you they're going to commit suicide. These are all part of their tantrums. They really don't want to. And it's not like a person who's crying for help. This is a person who is crying for all your attention. And so to get it, they'll do what it takes. I hope you can still hear me. It was getting a little warm in here, so turn the air on. So they'll do whatever to get your attention. I seem to be getting a lot of people driving by. I tried to come to an exclusive place. So they will, they're hypersensitive. So what happens is that they I think they were just being nosy about what I was doing. All right, so they're hypersensitive, and so what happens is, if you criticize them for something, and maybe it's just a small criticism, maybe you say, when we went out, you know, you tripped over that little crack right there, and I stood in front of you so that you didn't fall. They'll definitely deny it and take it in such a way that it's just like grandiose. It's big. It's like, you know, they'll be funky with you, or they'll deny it. Just be like, no, that's not what happened. I didn't trip. You know, I did that to make them think this, whatever, because they're very hypersensitive. Or let's say you say, oh, you know, oh, let me get that chocolate off of you. What they heard is, you're sloppy, you're messy, you're a pig when you eat. They put a 10 on a 2. You're saying something that's like, hey, let me help you out, and they hear, oh my goodness, I'm criticizing you in the worst way. They don't understand constructive criticism. The only way they do is when they're trying to gain information. So if they realize there's something that they don't know, then they will go, hey, can you help me? I was wondering if you can help me write this paper. I was wondering if you can help me, with the children. I was wondering if it's not that they really want the help, it's that they're really just trying to gain something from you. So if you say, oh, do you want me to help you with the children? They look at it as though you just told them they're a bad parent. That's not what you said. You were just saying, you're thinking, well, you asked me yesterday, so, I see that you have a lot going on. So I'm like, hey, let me help you out. Do you want help with the children? Or, do you want me to clean up while you tend to the children? They're looking at it as, oh, so now I'm a bad housekeeper and I'm a bad parent and can't juggle it all. That's how hypersensitive they are, So if you tell them there's something on your face, let me get that, or whatever. I'm not a sloppy eater, that's what you do. That's, last time you had that drip coming down your lip or whatever, and you're going, oh, okay, yeah, it's funny to you, like, okay, but they're looking at it as, no, it was bad, like you just got through arguing with them. And if you say something, they might tell you something like, I'm not trying to argue with you. And you're like, right, no kidding. And so sometimes, because of the way that they act, you might feel like you need to record it, because you're thinking, I'm here, and they're here, and you're going, what are you talking about? Because they're so hypersensitive. They also, they gaslight a lot. There's so many ways that they gaslight. I can't even capture all the ways of gaslighting. They're jealous like crazy, and they don't want you to know that they're jealous, but they're so jealous. They're jealous of your friends. They're jealous of your opposite sex friends. They're jealous of your family. They're jealous of your children. They're jealous of their children. If anybody's taking more time away from you, they're jealous of that as well, because they'll tell you things like, and remember, you have relationships like this, you have friendships that are this way, you have family that is this way, you have co-workers that kind of have taken possession of you at work, and so they think that you cater to them. Or maybe when you leave the workspace, they're still calling you about situations, because they're draining you. They're draining your energy. They're draining everything that you have to offer. And so I'm trying to get it all in, because I don't want to be too long. And so I'm going to go a little bit into the gaslighting. Again, remember that people can have traits, so I don't want you to go, oh my goodness, my girlfriend's a narcissist. Narcissists can only be diagnosed, and there's some issues with that. So hopefully I get back to when they have therapy, and they can evade sometimes some diagnosis. Not always. If they're consistent, therapist is going to finally catch on, but they can definitely pull the wool over on a therapist. But I think a therapist that, like, this is their thing. I think somebody like Dr. Romani Durvasula, I don't think she could ever be fooled, because she's been doing it so long, and she definitely knows the right questions to pull, and understands them pulling on the heartstrings, etc. But yeah, so the gaslighting, they will they really hate old relationships that you have with anybody. They'll blame that, oh, if you're a girl, they'll say, oh, you want to be with your ex, and you're sitting there going, no, I'm thinking about my ex. Like, I haven't even heard from them. Today was the first day they sent me a message. You've been talking to them all along. Like, they need to make you the bad person. Always. Because they can never see themselves bad. They can never accept that they have flaws like that or bad. And even if they do and they say, I'm sorry, they'll deny it later. Because you'll argue about it like the next day or maybe even hours, and you're going, didn't you just say you were sorry? So you did acknowledge it. And they'll go, no, I didn't say that. Not, that's what I'm saying. Let me kind of fix that. Maybe it's coming out wrong. No. They'll say, I didn't say that. And you're like, I just heard you say that. Or say, for instance, that they've been molested as a child and they tell you that. And then you come back and say it like a month later and go, I'm here for you because I understand you've been through some what situation. I've never been through that. Because it makes them flawed. It makes them less than perfect. There are some that will take advantage of it and say, yeah, I did that, just so they can get people to sympathize with them, so that they can use that against you and drain some more energy. So and when we do diagnosis of different mental illness or different, it's not always one, especially like with a narcissist. There's bound to be something else going on as well, some depression, some whatever. I even know a narcissist that is and duly right, someone who has Munchausen, and you got to watch them because they have Munchausen. If you don't know what Munchausen is Munchausen and Munchausen by proxy. And this is where you get your pleasure out of your child. Usually it's a parent that is making their child sick, and they're getting the consoling from other people, the compassion, and so it's a high for them. It gives them pleasure, like, oh my goodness, it's a good feeling when someone is consoling you through some things. But it's bad when it's an addiction, like, oh, this is what gives me pleasure. And so Munchausen is like that. And you also can get it by not necessarily that you made your child sick, but that your child is sick. And so you kind of play on everyone's emotions with that. You tell everybody so that they can gravitate towards you. But anyway, I don't want to get into the details of that because there's so much more to that, but that's just an overlay of it. And so definitely someone with Munchausen would have some narcissism, traits of narcissism, because they need to have all of that on them. They have this need, and it's a greedy need. It's not just what we all like accomplishment, or most of us like to be acknowledged. Some of us like to be on wall of achievement, some of us don't, and so some of us are really quiet. But for the most part, majority of people, from the perception of what we see in a society, most of us you know, like a little ego stroking, a little acknowledgement, etc. But a narcissist needs a little bit more often, always asking you the same thing over and over, like, do I look good? Do I look good? And you're like, yeah, you look good. And at first you kind of just look at it as true insecurity, like, come on, babe, you're not fat, or come on, you know, mom, or whatever, you're looking good. But then you realize that they know that they look good, and they're really just asking you for repetitive validation. It's like, yeah, I said that already. Or, you know, how'd my speech go? It went great. Tomorrow, how'd my speech go? Like, really? Because what they're looking is for you to, they're not looking for you to just say it went really great. They're looking for you to praise them. Like, oh man, it was so good. And it's not that they're looking for it so that they know that you love them and care for them. It's because it's feeding into their need. That's it. And so it's all about them, and it becomes about you when you're disrupting their needs. When you're disrupting their needs, now it's you. So if you say, you know, hey, Susie, are we going to go to the beach? And Susie goes, I hate when you ask me, can we go to the beach? And that's Susie's reaction every single time. And then when you get somewhere else or in public, Susie goes, yeah, we're gonna go to the beach and pick a time where it's just you and me, and you're so excited. They're gaslighting you because they're never gonna take you. And then you say, hey, remember you said you were gonna take me to the beach? Why do you keep asking me, am I going to take you to the beach? I'm like, oh, you're so annoying. Didn't I take you to the beach like last week? No. Okay, well, whenever I took you to the beach already. Like, why are you, like, you're so needy. You're so needy. I know you like going to the beach because you just like seeing people, you like seeing other people look at you. You want them to see you. You want them to see in your bathing suit. I don't even wear a bathing suit when I go to the beach. Yeah, but you think you're so cute. You put them sunglasses on. You just think you're so cute. They so gaslighted you. They're turning this around to make it about you to fulfill their need. So they want you to believe, they also want you to believe that you need them. So when you're in a relationship with them, or it's your parent or whatever, you know, you say, you know, I don't think this is gonna work for me or whatever, they'll do whatever it takes. Like I said, say they're gonna commit suicide. If you call the police, they'll freak out and be mad at you. Not because you wanted to help and go, man, this person really loves me. I really wanted to do it. It's because they're mad at you because you have the audacity to call the police on me. Like, what kind of person would call the police on me? Somebody who cares and wants to save your life? They were never planning on doing it. They were gaslighting you. And they will gaslight you to the very end. Even if it means I said I popped 12 pills, 20 pills in my mouth, because I know that you're walking through the door and lay the pills down, they'll do that. Like, they'll get you all freaked out knowing that you're going to save their life. Gaslighting. And it's not the same for people who want to commit suicide, but they really don't. They just really want to be heard and want to be loved, who desire it and have high ideations of it. Ideations. And, you know, they're having fantasies about it, but they're scared of it. Why can't this person just know what I'm going through? Let me get their attention. That's not a narcissist. Those are people who might do it one day, you know, but we're talking about the person who is staging it for your attention. Just to feed their need. And then there is, let me see. So they'll argue with you, yell at you, and tell you that it's you. They'll engage you, and you'll be like screaming back at you, and they'll go, "Why are you yelling at me?" As though they didn't engage in this argument. And you'll start questioning yourself, like, did I start arguing first? And then you start doing this 4-year-old thing. No, you did it. You started it. No, you started it. And you're trying to, no, you started it because you said. Now the argument has gone into a tangent somewhere else because you're trying to prove to them that they were wrong. Wrong doesn't work for them. So, or that they started something that doesn't work for them. And they'll tell you something, okay, move on. Because they don't want to acknowledge that they did something wrong. And it's really sad and depressing because I lived it, and it's not funny, but it's really funny because the extent of the childlike is like, oh my gosh. But the seriousness of it is, it's very painful. And me getting out of that, and I've lived through it multiple times, including my father, because it was something that was familiar to me. So when that happens, we tend to gravitate to what is comfortable for us. And so you have to learn those signs. You have to learn even those things about yourself, so that you don't fall into the familiarity of things. If your parents did it, then it feels comfortable to save somebody else, because that's what that's what you've been doing. So there's that. And I'm just gonna go through a list of things that I wrote out. Let's see. They're constantly arguing, and they can be like sad. What is it called? Sad face. I don't even remember, but they can be happy and then sad, like that. Like, so you think it's just moodiness, but really it's strategic. So if that didn't work, let me try this, and so they'll constantly engage you into arguments, like stupid, frivolous arguments, and no matter how much you tell them, like, this doesn't make any sense, in their mind, it's all you. It's all you. It's not anybody else. It's you. And they'll tell you that's you. They'll also tell you that you always got to be right, because they don't like being wrong. So in order to win the fight that they feel that they're losing, they'll tell you, you got to be, you always got to be right. Okay. All right. So for you, the best thing to do is don't engage in the argument. Easier said than done. If they've already provoked you to that space, even if you weren't an arguer before and they've provoked you in that space, they've already learned how to push their buttons. They're getting some kind of pleasure out of it, actually. For them, they might be thinking, yeah, she loves me. Yeah, he loves me. Yeah, they're not going nowhere. Because they're just trying to validate them. Strange thing, right? It's almost like when you become, I said no more stories, let me roll through them. Okay, so try not to argue with them. They get pleasure from it, even if they try to convince you that it's you. And that they hate to argue. They'll say, I hate arguing. I left my last relationship because of arguing. So that you will be the person who's the cause of the argument. Because you'll be feeling like, oh man, I don't want to be like their last relationship. Or my mother always argued with, oh my gosh, I hate arguing. Okay, I don't want to be like his nagging mother, her nagging mother. Like, oh man, I want to be better than that. And so we as a people, we always want to be better than, like, oh, I don't want to cause those things that caused them pain before. And so be careful of that, because then they'll make you the toxic person, and you'll start to believe that you are. And honestly, you are picking up traits. You are picking up their traits. When we're around other people, we do pick up their traits, whether good or bad. It's natural. And so just on that note, I'm going to get into why people are narcissists. So, but they constantly need validation. Like I said, they act like they need your help, really just to continue to get your validation. They'll feel unimportant and insignificant without the validation. So if you aren't praising them constantly, remember, you're not getting the same praise. They may give you little things because you actually accent them. You actually are their accent. So if you go in there and you put on a nice suit and she has on a nice dress and the color schemes are brilliant together, she might be really adoring that. Like, yeah, you look good, almost helping you to a little bit minimize, just to make sure that they look good. It's really all about them. It has nothing to do with you. In fact, if you pay attention, you're not going to get a compliment without them responding with, "Yo, babe, you look real good. How I look?" "Yeah, mom, you look really pretty. How I look?" Or, yeah, to their daughter, their son, "You're looking good. I'm looking fabulous, right? Right? Am I looking fabulous?" And it's not like a joking thing or just like, "Oh, yeah." No, you'll start to feel it like, "I'm looking good," and they're going, "Yeah, you look good too. Like, you like the way my eyebrows is arched? You know what? I went and I had my lipstick done. It's popping." And yeah, you're going, "You just forgot about me." It could be your event, but they're really consumed with making sure that they look good because they want it to be about them. Even if it's your event, they're standing on the side to get the praise because they're with you. And if you get too much, they may become withdrawn a little bit. They may go sit down, they may go do something, because in their minds, it's not about you. It's about them. And so now you've become competition. You're very, very competitive. I remember once my niece said, I was in a relationship that was narcissistic, and she said, I hadn't picked it up at that time, I don't think. And she said, wow, he loves you just as much as he hates you. And so there are therapists that say they don't love you. And I sometimes beg to differ, because they don't really understand love. They're so consumed with themselves. Whatever's happened in their lives, they don't really understand it. So, like, I see some that really love their children, but there are limitations to them. There are things that will make them compromise that love for their children. So, because remember, it's all about them. So, yeah. So they'll make you feel unimportant. There are consequences. There are consequences for things that they do. If you look better than them, they'll smear your name. They'll tell your friends like nasty stuff about you. If your friend said, if your mutual friend says, "Man, Tanetta looked really good tonight." If it's my mutual friend and they said, "Hey, Tanetta looks really good," that narcissist may respond with, "She don't even really want to be here. She don't even like people here. She don't even like them." To make them go, "What?" So then they start talking to them like, I can't even really get into it. So what they're doing is they're drawing them in as a friend. Like, you can trust me. And people who fall for that is like, wait, if they're betraying them, and so if you don't see that as their normal personality, like all the time, what are they really up to? So, but they'll do that. They'll definitely smear your name. If they get envious of others, like I said, okay, if they get envious of others, they'll definitely say, your friend just wants to use you. When in reality, they want to use you. And if it's a good friend, they'll tell you like, oh, your man he wants this from you, he wants that from you, and then you'll start paying attention to the friend, and the friend will be like, you'll start seeing the friend doing exactly the same thing as the significant other, and you're like, whoa. Like, you're telling me that they're using me, but you're using me. Because they want, if it's a friend, they want it to just be you and them, just like a intimate relationship. And parents the same way. If they want it to just be you, they'll like pick on your friends. Oh, he's not good enough, she's not good enough, nobody's gonna ever be good enough. Or I seen them steal something out of the cabinet. They don't want you to trust them like you trust them. And so let's see. Also, so they lack responsibility. They might be good at their job. They may not be, but they lack a personal responsibility, and they'll find ways to get out of responsibility. Like, they'll even become supervisors so that other people can do it for them, because they really don't want to do it, but they have a goal that they're trying to reach, so they did it. They'll find other people to do things for them. They'll always have an excuse. I knew somebody who could never move their own furniture, and it was like, you're so grown, they could never move their own furniture. They would find every reason not to move their own furniture. They would find other people to do it for them, lean it on their significant other. Not even pay for somebody to come in and help them. Just real raunchy. And so they need to accomplish even if it hurts you. So if what they need hurts you, oh well, because they're going to accomplish what they need to accomplish. If you're a loved one and you're hurting, and there's something that they are able to reach and get, they'll kick you to the side, because they're gonna get that first. So you can't depend on them. That lack of responsibility and accountability, you can't depend on them. But they expect you to always be there for them. Always. It doesn't matter what you're going through. You could have said, oh my goodness, I was in a car spit out, and it really shook me up. The other car hit the back of my car, but I'm good. I got a little dent back there, but I'm good. And they'll go, so, oh my gosh, you're not here on time. Like, what about me? What about what I gotta go through? What's my supervisor gonna say? Like, I need this break. And you're going, I was just in this accident, like spin out, and I got hit in the back. They don't even see that unless somebody like brings that to their attention, or they'll give you the acknowledgement like, oh yeah, man, you must be pretty broken up, huh? It's almost like having autistic, and with autism, we teach cues like, oh, this is what you say, because they don't have quite the emotions that everybody else has, so they don't respond those the same way or on cue. So we teach them cues. So if you say a joke, they laugh. But a person who's not autistic and you say a joke and they go that it's fake, well, they'll do that. They'll go, oh man, you were in that spin out, you must be really, really shaken up. Oh my gosh, let me hug you. All right, so we need to hurry up and get up out of here. Man, I really hate that you went through that, because they see that you're disturbed by it, and they see that you're not going to give them what you want because you're somewhere else. On the other hand, there are things where you might have the death of a friend, the death of a loved one, and you go, oh my gosh, I'm really heartbroken. And they go, man, I'm so sorry for that. And then you'll walk back in and they'll go and argue over something that's really stupid and frivolous so they can accomplish something. And you're going, I just lost somebody. I know they're not significant to you, but they're significant to me. And honestly, why are we even arguing about this today? Like, why today? Like, I just lost somebody today. They'll do that. So you'll fight over attention because they want the attention, and they'll drain you. They'll drain your energy. You become a ranting person and a nagging person. You'll always be complaining because you'll get fed up, and you'll be like, what about me? What about what I need? What about my needs? And they'll go, you're always complaining about your needs. And you are, because you want your needs met, and they're not meeting them. And so they kind of know, like, when you're fed up. And so they do different things when they know the relationship is coming to an end. They look for others to co-sign their backup. So, that's not what I put. They look for others to co-sign their bull crap, really. They know that they're full of crap, and they will look for other people, or they will have people sympathize with them and go, oh my gosh, you're going through that. They're leaving out the details, or that they instigated it, or that they were being messy, or whatever, because they probably don't think they were anyway. So they'll leave those significant points out, and someone will go, oh my gosh, they have so much sympathy for them. But the reality is, I gotta watch my time, I got a client, okay, but the reality is that they really dang, I forgot where I was going. I'm so sorry. Like, that threw me off because I was looking for the time. But they just really want you to co-sign for their crap. Like, oh, maybe they're mad at Susie for, I'm sorry, Susie, I don't mean to be picking with you. Maybe they're mad at Cynthia, because I think I said that before, right? So maybe they're mad at Cynthia because Cynthia's great at what she does. But Cynthia got into it with her boyfriend, Jeff. And so she's, thinking this is a good time to get back at Cynthia. Like, remember that time Cynthia came in here and her panties were backwards? I know she was getting it on with the guy, talking about, oh, I must have put my panties on wrong when I was at the house. So they'll do something messy and say, you remember that? You know good and well that she didn't forget. That's because she was standing in the back with Oliver. And you go, yeah. Oliver be looking at her. Maybe Oliver be looking at her, but she don't be looking at him. Or maybe she just has a flirtatious spirit, but she's not trying to cheat on her man. So goes and gets a bunch of co-signers to co-sign so that they can be right and feel good about them.